everybody, it's Lawrence from Unicorn Reviews here, and today we're gonna be doing some Assetto Corsa version 0.4 this time. I've chosen for this video to go with controller input, but I can also talk about force feedback because I tried that quite extensively with the Logitech G27. Also, I'm already going to tell you guys that I might say some stuff that's going to piss the fanboys off. I'm terribly sorry if that happens, but you know, I'm not getting paid by anyone to do these videos, so I can just say whatever I want. Anyway, have I said, yeah, so the reason for the 500 is because I've got one, and I guess that's the best way to tell you how I think the physics are with this car. Because, you know, I've driven it myself for thousands and thousands of kilometers, really. So, Monza. First of all, a bit about the graphics, because a lot of people, despite this being a full simulator, it's really not about the graphics. Now, the graphics are still the part of the game that you see, and your eyes are still a very important sense, so with that being said, I'm gonna go into graphics, and well, here's a quick example of the graphics. It's the curbs are pretty flat, the grass is pretty thin. It looks all good. It all looks very good. The lighting is pretty decent. I'm guessing it's noon here because the car says it's 12 o'clock, so we're not gonna get massive shadows. Which is great. We got windscreens that can get dirty and windscreen reflections. That's all incredibly cool. But which game doesn't have that nowadays? And right here is the perfect time. See that tree right ahead of us? Note how the leaves get thinner and thinner, and now they just completely disappear. So what they did is they didn't go with three-dimensional trees. They have two-dimensional trees at a 90-degree angle, so like in an X shape, to create from some distance away. You can't really see the difference, but I would expect them to, you know, make some higher resolution versions for the trees that are incredibly close to the track. And if they don't do that, at least angle them so it's not that obvious. But you know, it's early access. I'm guessing that means alpha. So this is nowhere near released version status. Car interior looks okay. The materials look very good, quite realistic materials. The shiny plastic, like it has in reality, and I hate the shiny plastic, but you know, can't change it, can I? So the graphics are decent. Points out of 10, I would say a 7. However, it does take an awful lot of graphics resources, so your PC is really going to struggle with this game maxed out, because at the moment it's maxed out at 1080p, and so your PC is going to struggle quite a bit. And with that in mind, I would only give it like a 6 at the moment, because it doesn't at all optimize. The game isn't at all optimized for graphics cards, and the stuff you see is nowhere near what the graphics card actually has to do to get the image on the screen. But I'm guessing they're gonna make that better. Moving on to audio, the audio is pretty decent once again. Points out of 10 at the moment, because this is not a review, I cannot stress that enough. Points out of 10 for the audio, I would say maybe an 8. It's pretty good, but it feels a bit tin canny. That's probably the best way to say it. So it's like you're screaming into a tin can and the sound that comes back. It's not massively like that, and you can hear it right now as well, but it's not like the silky smooth sounds a lot of other racing games have. Of course, the main reason to buy this game and to play this game is the physics. So I'm now going to go into physics a lot. Is that, by the way, a Windows logo? The left steering wheel, that is the Windows logo. I don't think mine has that. Mine definitely doesn't have that, actually. Anyway, I also don't have the giant horn logos, but whatever. Physics. Let's just hit this curb quite badly, just to feel what it's like. To me, when driving in real life, the most feel for the car doesn't come through the wheel. It all comes through your butt, really. You sit in the middle of the car, so you constantly have a good idea on parallel movement, sideways movement, roll and pitch, all that sort of stuff. You really get a good idea with that when you're in an actual car. Now, unless if you go with a full motion simulator, which will cost you about 20,000 euros at least, then you're not going to experience that sort of stuff with this game. The only way the game can communicate to you is through graphics, the audio, and obviously steering wheel. So I use the G27 wheel. Of course, I already said I'm driving with an Xbox controller here, just to make it a bit easier to do the recording while playing. So the force feedback is pretty good. Gives you a rather good idea of what the car is doing. It's not perfect. There is a bit of tweaking that needs to happen. You know, it automatically sets everything, but sometimes it does take some time to like really get the balance between sliding, massive understeer, and curbs and engine rumble and all that sort of stuff, and torque steer. It does still need quite some work to get all of that spot on. So let's not talk about the interaction between you and the game anymore. Let's just talk about the game itself and the physics that are what happens inside your CPU, really, because physics is all CPU stuff, unless you're talking NVIDIA physics, but no one uses that anyway. With this car, what happens in real life when you turn into a corner is it doesn't want to go into the corner, and you feel it heavily leaning on one wheel, and you feel the tire rolling off a bit, and you know if you let go of the throttle or brake, then the rear is just going to catch up with the front, and you're going to go backwards into a wall. That's pretty much exactly how it feels in the game as well. I'm just going to exiting Curva Grande here. I'm just going to demonstrate that going into... Actually, it's quite hard to demonstrate that going into a chicane, but pretty much you turn in, you get this massive understeer, and if you then brake, the rear goes a bit. Of course, I was going, you know, it only really happens in fast corners, so in chicanes and tight corners, the car bites really well into the tarmac or asphalt or whatever you're driving on. But the understeer, like it is in real life, is pretty, it has a heavy presence, let's call it. Let's put it that way. I said I was going to stop about graphics, but the game feels incredibly flat to me. And the force feedback and the way the physics work, it doesn't really help with that. So you get this bump mapping. They got the bump mapping very, very well done, even though I haven't, you know, see, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Just lift off oversteer. So they got, the physics are 9 out of 10 for physics. Not giving a 10 because there's always quite some room for improvement, and if it was what I would say perfect, then I would give it 9.5. Compare that to what I would give Project Cars with the best, most finished car right now on the best tires, on the best track. Project Cars would get about 9.7 for me, so a 9 for this at the moment. Not saying in general Project Cars physics are better, but there's just some work that has to happen here to actually fully finish that. Oh boy. That was what would happen if you accidentally hit grass with your left rear wheel. I've been lucky enough to never have that in real life, which is great. So yeah, anything else you need to know about the game? Obviously it's nowhere near finished yet. There's going to be a bunch of cars coming soon. Multiplayer will be added soon. AI will be added on at least one track, I think they said. It's quite cheap on Steam at the moment, so if you want to buy it, if you're considering buying this game, I would definitely recommend doing that, because I think the game has a lot of potential. And the more money, well, the more people that buy it, the more money the studio will have, and the better they can make the game, really. So yeah, I would definitely recommend you guys all to buy it. At the moment, the way it is, I would give it 8.5 or 8 out of 10. But this is not a review, so not giving any of my fancy awards yet. So yeah, if you liked the video, please like the video. If you disliked the video, then go ahead and dislike the video, but please leave a comment, you know, whether or not you liked it or not, but whatever. Just leave comments and tell me what you thought about the video. What you think about the game is of course also very important. What are you looking forward to? Is it mostly Assetto Corsa or more Project Cars that you're really looking forward to? Just, you know, let us know in the comment area. That's what that is for. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because I'm gonna do quite a few more of these videos. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching.